Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Tam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yantah Pravishya Mama Vachim Mamam Prasuptam Sanjivayata Kila Shakti Darasvadhamna Nyam Shahasta Charana Shravanat Vagadini Pranannamo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Svasyastu Vishvasya Kalach Prasidatam Dayantu Bhutani Shivam Mithodya Manascha Badram Bhajata Tadokshaja Aveshyatam No Matirapyahaytuki Aradhya Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayastadhama Vrindavanam Ranyaka Chidupasana Vrajavadu Vargena Yakalpya Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Pumartamahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Mathamidam Tatradaro Na Paraha. So today we will mostly try to interact with you and answer your questions, but I'll give a very brief description of what we have studied so far in Madhurya Kadambini. We studied Mangala Charana, and then we briefly went through the first chapter of Madhurya Kadambini, where Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur establishes independent nature of bhakti, which is the personal Mahashakti, great energy of the Lord. And then in the second chapter he explained how the first stages of spiritual development take place when we get the seed. And we talked that this seed of devotional service is certain kind of intelligence, discriminating intelligence, which helps us to see the truth. It's certain kind of mati, the intelligence which facilitates our devotional progress. And then, because of this, immediately the seed of bhakti starts sprouting and starts eradicating bad qualities and manifests some auspicious properties. And then Shraddha comes. Oh, well, it's simultaneous process. And we talked a lot about Shraddha. How Shraddha starts with respect and develops into action combined with hope to achieve the ultimate goal of devotional service. The Shraddha is only meaningful when it is coupled with this determined actions with clear understanding of the goal and very ardent hope to ultimately achieve this desired goal. And then today we started the third chapter, which is Anartha Nivritti, eradication of anarthas. And basically just 2 words about this chapter, which is ahead of us. Anarthas are called anarthas because in the ultimate sense they are not valuable, but subjectively they seem to be valuable to us. It would not be difficult to get rid of anarthas if we would not consider them arthas. This process is so painful and so difficult because we actually cling. We don't want to let them go because we feel very much insecure without these anarthas. Anarthas are just programs which help us to exist in this material world. Yeah, and they give us some security. Anger is actually very useful. What to speak about lust? It's very useful. It has multi-purposes. It can be used in many different occasions. So greed is, of course, very useful. So from the material perspective, they are useful. And they're viewed by us as something valuable, but from spiritual perspective, they are completely useless because they are hindrances, obstacles for us to achieve paramartha, the highest artha, the highest achievement of our life. And because in the beginning stages, we do have spiritual outlook, spiritual understanding or spiritual point of view, then at least on a conscious level we think, yes, it's useless. But still on the subconscious level we think, no, it's very useful. So therefore this struggle, this tussle, this push and pull game is going on. We preach to us it's useless, and our false ego says, I know better. How you can survive without this? You need this. So this is what is going on, and therefore we are disturbed. We are disturbed because anarthas disturb us, because there are so many desires which surface. And actually what happens also at this moment of and this period of our spiritual development, bhajana kriya means our conscious attempts to serve. We surrender to Guru, we take initiation, Krishna Dikshadi Shikshanam, we systematically take Shiksha, and then because of this systematic Shiksha, we understand Sadachar, the rules of Sadachar, we understand what we're supposed to do, and we consciously try to serve. but because it's still somewhat forced attitude, because we're still deep down are enjoyers. The resistance comes out, and it's basically we start feeling or seeing negative qualities which are in us. Oftentimes devotees says that before I started chanting Hare Krishna, I was much better. Now I'm completely... It's not that you were much better. You were just much more ignorant, and you were not aware about the problems which you have. So the process of devotional service, it helps us to see all the problems which we have much more clearly. Besides that, we always hear that this is bad and this is bad, this will bring bad consequences. So we always hear this kind of preaching. So we see all these deficiencies, and it's sometimes very painful. It's like, if you have a pot, and the pot was used many times, and you cooked there, and it seemed to be quite clean. But then when you start washing it, you look at this and it seems to be clean, but then you start washing it and there is a lot of dirt which is coming from this pot, because it was before it stuck to the walls of this pot. But now, because of this disturbance, we start seeing all these problems. So the cleansing process, it's like disease, or rather healing process. Oftentimes healing, when you start healing, it is combined with some crisis, health crisis. Very rarely you heal without any problems. Sometimes the disease becomes more acute. Actually, it's a healing process, but the disease becomes more visible because of this purification procedures which you apply. And exactly the same thing is happening when we start doing devotional service. Certain problems which were not visible become more visible and more acute. And therefore sometimes it's very painful. But don't worry, it will be gone if you are insistent enough, and if you manifest certain humility, and if you are in the society of devotees. It's very important to be in the society, because we can always find some help. So that's the process of purification from anarthas. We will see some details of this process and more exact description of what is going on, but this is just brief, and now we can try to answer your questions if you have some. Yes, please, I will translate, no problem.
Гуру Махарадж, вы вчера сравнивали Шрадху с голодом, и что когда мы не голодные, переваривание не происходит. Точно так же, когда Шрадхи недостаточно, и мы соблюдаем слишком высокую садану, не по нашему уровню, то происходит это же непереваривание и откат. Вопрос у меня касаемо Намаништхи. Все ли туда могут приезжать? Потому что действительно были отзывы, когда был некоторый откат, и в результате вот это достаточно, какой уровень шрадхи нужен для того, чтобы посещать такие ретриты, или же такие короткие спринты, они благотворны для всех.
So the question is about the comparison which I gave, that Shraddha is something like hunger. And when the hunger is strong, then it can digest anything. And indeed, Shraddha is the hunger, because when Shraddha is very strong, then we develop very strong desire to achieve the goal of Shastras. But the question is, but I said, if Shraddha is very weak and we try to follow sadhana which is not really suitable for our level of Shraddha, then the result may be opposite. And sometimes we can see it. People give very high, maintain for some time very high standard of devotional practice, but then they give it up completely. You know, they're chanting 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs. And the question is, we have this program in Russian-speaking part of ISKCON, which is called Namanishta. It's short retreats, 1-day retreat with 1 entrance and 1 day out, or 3 days retreat, when people chant as much as possible, 2 lakhs or whatever, or sometimes 3 lakhs within the day. They keep complete mauna, and they, believe it or not, surrender their mobile phones and don't look in them. So it's a very severe austerity. And the question was, is it suitable for everyone? Because there were cases when people get this experience and the result was not positive. Mostly it's very positive when people feel the calmness of the mind and feel very intimate connection with the holy name. But in some cases it's not. People feel that they kind of go back. So which level of Shraddha it is suitable? It's very difficult to define exactly on which level you should do it. I would say that to dedicate 1 day completely to the holy name is safe. The problem comes much more acute when we give some vow. Sometimes people being enthusiastic give some vow, and I will follow this, like in the life of Srila Prabhupada, one of his disciples, he decided to follow the vow of Thakur Haridas. He started living in a rice field in Mayapur and chanting 3 lakhs a day. So for 2 weeks he was chanting 3 lakhs a day, and then he disappeared somewhere. So just to try to get this experience for 1 day and to see what happens, I would say is advisable for everyone. But to keep it as a stable practice is probably not a good idea before we're ready for this. So just 1 day is okay, or even 3 days you can try. Yes? It would be nice if somebody would watch the audience and facilitate this.
Maharaj, in the first you said that first we should satisfy Guru with our service and humbleness, so that his heart melted and his knowledge and mercy came into our heart from his heart. So should one be near Guru Maharaj for that, or how we will know?
The physical proximity is not necessary. Bhakti does not depend on the material distance. Bhakti is the energy which is beyond time and space. Therefore, for bhakti, it can travel with this speed which is much higher than the speed of light. So any distance can be covered. Physical proximity is not important. In fact, we can be physically very close, but at the same time, our mind or our hearts can be very distant. Sometimes people live in one apartment and they're not close at all, even though physically they live in the same place. So physical proximity is not a factor at all. It's just a question of sincerity, and when you sincerely try, and Guru knows what you're doing and how you're trying, then you can download the mercy from his heart, no problem. If you know the password, which is Trinadapi Sunichana Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanina Manadana Kirtanya Sadari. If this password is there, then you can get the mercy.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, is it possible for a disciple to, from the same Guru, for a disciple to get Bhakti Lata Beej of pure devotion and another to not get it? And if yes, what really determines what kind of seed we get?
No. If you're listening to a person, and if the person is pure, how you can get impure seed from a pure person? What can happen is that you get the pure seed, but instead the weeds start growing in your heart, and the pure seed is suppressed. The seed may be there, but it may not manifest so much. It's not that somebody gets pure seed and somebody gets impure seed. Some people, they just, what they do, they kind of misuse the process of bhakti for their own aggrandizement or for any other purposes. So they may receive the seed or whatever their relationship with Guru are, but at the same time something else growing within the heart. It's not that they received something improper from the Guru. No, they don't need to receive anything from real Guru, because everything which they need is already there. It's just manifests. It very much depends on our sincerity and sincerity of purpose, and therefore we have to be introspective. All these descriptions in our Shastras, like Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu or Madhurya Kadambini, are there to help us to investigate the heart, to see what is really going on. Without that, it would be very difficult for us to understand the processes. But this is a science which helps us to see what is going on, and we have to be self-analytical and reflect what is going on. And of course, and especially what we need the association with some more advanced people who will also show us something which we would not be able to see.
simultaneously, or if there is Shastriya Shraddha, then there is no space for Laukika Shraddha? Or can it be both?
When we analyze ourselves, it seems like we have both sometimes. Is it possible? How is it in reality?
It's like it's possible because we're very expert in. The question is it possible for both Laukika Shraddha or conventional Shraddha and Shastriya Shraddha to live simultaneously within our heart? Yes, it's definitely possible because we are very expert in crossbreeding our Shraddhas. We think that we will make some special breed of Shraddha. So we have some sort of hybrid Shraddha with some elements of Shastra and some elements of logic superstition, some sort of logic understanding. But if we study Shastra, ultimately this logika element will be eradicated from our heart. Yes.
Please accept my humble obeisance. Maharaj, this is regarding Guru Tattva. Maharaj, we hear Guru is as good as God. So I just wanted to check, because we also know that Guru is not the three qualities of God: omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent. At least it doesn't seem that Guru has them. So in what context Guru is as good as God? Is it that when he gives a scriptural messages, scriptural instructions based on scriptures, it is as good as God giving it to us, and that's how we should follow it? And in what context Guru is not as good as God? Is it like when he talks about some kind of like when Prabhupada spoke about certain things about war between Russia and US, certain things didn't happen. So because this is a question that has been there for many people, so if you can give some elaborate clarification.
Yeah, Bhakti Rakshak Siddhar Maharaj, he wrote a beautiful book, Guru and His Grace, where he explains that Guru Tattva is the most difficult Tattva because it's one of the most difficult, like Shiva Tattva also, because it's the combination of both. He says that there is this material, so to speak, feature of the personality and the spiritual feature. So when we say that Guru is as good as God, the understanding is that we should view that it is Krishna himself who is acting through this particular person. The Krishna himself, because Krishna is not really bold enough to come in our life. Therefore, he sends his representative and see the result. We know that he sent Jesus Christ and what they did to him. It's not so safe to come to this material world. So the system is actually there for us to rehearse the pure relationship. And therefore, it's very important for us to view him in this light, because otherwise, we will of course talk about this tomorrow more. but we know that he's not God, and at the same time we view him as God because we see that God is acting through this particular person. He is using him as an instrument, and I have to look at him. And that's actually the glory of Vedic culture, because Vedic culture not only talks about Guru as God, Vedic culture also says Pitri Deva Bhava, Matri Deva Bhava, Acharya Deva Bhava. So Shastra says you have to see your father as God. Does it mean that he's God? No, he's not God. But you look at him and you try not to see his conditioned nature, but you see the manifestation of God which gives you protection. Why should we look at our Father as God? Because he is functioning as God in our life. He's protecting us, he's giving us intelligence, he helps us to be the proper person, if he's proper father. In the same way, mother, she is also fulfilling certain functions which are the functions of ultimately of God, because only he has this Palana Shakti, the Shakti to protect and the Shakti to nourish. So in the same way, Guru is God because we should view him as God because he gives the transcendental knowledge. Unless we really understand clearly that he gives us this knowledge and the knowledge is coming from him, we will not receive the pure knowledge. To receive the pure knowledge with the experience, because it's not just theoretical knowledge, it's the knowledge which is deepened, made more profound by the realization of the particular person. So to receive it properly, we have to view and to have the certain attitude towards the spiritual master, to receive his experience and his knowledge. But at the same time, yes, Guru may have some conditioned features in his personality, as much as our father has some conditioned feature. But we just don't interact with this side of Guru. We don't want to interact with this side of Guru. If this understanding is very clearly established, then the society runs smoothly. Our parents should be viewed properly, with proper respect, and then we get protection from them. Because if we don't behave properly, we don't get what we need to get from them. In a similar way, if a disciple does not behave properly towards the Guru, he cheats himself. He will not get what he could get. He will not get what Krishna wants him to get through this particular person. It's not without a reason, not just by accident you come in contact with this person, you develop faith in this person. So if you behave properly, if you function in this relationship properly as a disciple, then the Guru will also open his heart and gives, or Radha Krishna from his heart will give what you need. So when we talk about the relationship between Guru and disciple, there is always the third party involved. The third party is God. So he is there in the heart of Guru and in your heart, and he's guiding. And oftentimes it is like this, you have some question, you're pondering, you have some doubt, and then you just click, and some lecture is there, and all of a sudden here you are, the answer is right there. It's not that Guru is sitting there and saying, let me guide him to push the proper button. No, it's Krishna. Krishna was in your heart, and it's really happening. Krishna is there. We don't see. Krishna is very tricky. He is hiding himself, but he is there. He is everywhere. And if he sees that we're sincere in this relationship, he will arrange and he will get you whatever you need.
Maharaj, recently I was hearing one lecture of yours, and you are mentioning about that the seed of this particular seed is given by Diksha Guru, and you have given one example that first initiation and second initiations, and in your that you have mentioned it's not necessary that that even in the presence of the spiritual master, that first and second initiations can be taken from the same Guru. And you've given example of that one of the disciple of Niranjan Swami Maharaj approached His Holiness Gaur Govind Maharaj, and he had given him second initiation. So Maharaj, there is a lot of confusion regarding this, because in the current practices of our movement, we don't see it as a general practices. So what is the philosophical understanding for this, Maharaj, if you can elaborate?
There is Harinam Diksha, when we receive Harinam, and the holy name, together with beads and new name, and there is Mantra Diksha, and there are different stages of the same process of Diksha. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he re-established in our Sampradaya this Pancha Samskara, which is very prominent in Sri Sampradaya. That Tapa, Pundra, and Nama, and then Mantra, and then finally Yaga. So these 5 elements, they're all elements of Diksha, the elements of the same process, which basically what Diksha means. Diksha means you receive certain qualification from the Guru. You become Dikshit. Dikshit means you become qualified to perform certain actions. Like in traditional Vedic culture, children, they get Diksha from a Guru when they are 7-year-old or 10-year-old. And that's basically the sign that they are qualified now to study Vedas. So Diksha is also has the similar nature. First you receive holy name from a Guru, and it basically means that Guru feels that you're qualified to start practicing this chanting of the holy name. But then when you progress a little further, you can receive mantra, and mantra means the next stage of your qualification. You start more consciously chant a mantra to purify your heart from all the anarthas, and to ultimately chant the pure holy name. So it could be given by different people. Like, for example, in Gaudiya Math, they don't place too much emphasis in the first initiation. For them, Diksha is the second initiation. Srila Prabhupada, of course, he placed a lot of emphasis on the first initiation as well. But still, it's a different elements, and it could be. It's not against. It is not against our culture. We can have somebody as a Nam Guru and somebody as Mantra Guru. Usually it is like this, that somebody who gives us the holy name, he also can give us mantra, or should give us mantra. But in some cases, it may be different people. There is a beautiful story in Sri Sampradaya in this connection. The story is described in one of the commentaries to Divya Prabandha, to Namalvar hymns. So the story is like this. There was one guru, Vaishnav, who gave Diksha to a disciple, Pancha Samskara. And then somehow the disciple became a little restless and doubtful, and he approached another Mahabhagavata and received another Diksha from him. And then little later this first guru found out, little later the second guru found out that he was the second one and the first one already gave Diksha. So he came to the first guru and started begging from him forgiveness. Please forgive me, I didn't know that you already gave Diksha and I committed this aparadha. And the first guru said, no, it's very good that you gave him Diksha, because to pull this guy from the well which he is in, it's better if we together try to. Otherwise it's difficult. So what's wrong with it? Yes.
Дорогой Гуру Махарадж, скажите, пожалуйста, вот, например, в христианской вере есть такое понятие, ну, то есть мы так используем слепая вера, да, что они слепо верят. Ну, у них тоже есть такие писания, вот, и просто, но у нас Шрила Прабхупада всегда ссылается, ну, то есть нас учат, что мы ссылаемся на шастры и как бы не опровергаем этого. Но у них же тоже вот как бы немножко слепая вера.
So the question is, we sometimes say that other people, or Christian people, they have blind faith, even though they also have their scriptures, and we have our scriptures, and we're also supposed to believe in our scriptures. What is the difference between their faith and our faith? Both have scriptures, and both are supposed to believe completely without any questions in the statements of the scriptures. What is the difference between us? Why do we say that our faith is not blind? Well, I try to explain the process of developing the proper scriptural faith. This process, in other traditions, to believe in something unquestioned, without any questions, is the entrance ticket. You cannot go anywhere. First, you have to allege yourself to a certain set of beliefs. Without this allegiance to a certain set of beliefs, you are nowhere. It's not like this in our Vaishnava tradition. We don't have to pledge allegiance to a certain set of beliefs. We do have a very beautifully formed set of beliefs, but it's not that this is the entrance ticket into the realm of practice and everything else. We develop some respect towards Guru, and then we start hearing and we start clarifying the doubts, and Guru will explain with logic and with rationale what is behind this, something which we, again, we don't have to believe in anything blindly, because it is stressed very much that we have to dissipate our doubts. Blind belief means that I have to believe even though I have so much doubts, but I have to believe, because if I don't believe, I will go to hell. It's never said in our tradition that if you don't believe, you go to hell. If you don't believe, you should just ask. and clarify the doubt which you have, and get rid of the doubt. And if you're not satisfied, go to somebody else, and you will get the proper explanation. And it's based on logic. Yeah, there are some certain things which we cannot prove by logic and by experiment, definitely. But still, they are very logical and they are very structural. And it's not against, it's very interesting. Srila Jiva Goswami in Tattva Sandarbha, he explains that the main pramana, the main means of knowing the truth is Shabda, revelation. But then he says, and there are subsidiary, there are secondary means for knowing the truth, because how you can know the truth about spiritual matters? You cannot know it by your senses, you cannot know by logic. The only thing, the only method or the process by which you can know something about transcendental matters is what is revealed in the scriptures. But then he says, very interestingly, he says that still pratyaksha and anumana, the experimentation or our sensual confirmation and logic, they should also play a very important role. And if there is, they have to be there. They have to confirm, and then he says that there is a lot of that all these transcendental things, they manifest to our senses, and we can have some experimental proof of this. He says that he gives certain examples, like he explains that Ayurveda. That's a good example, and Srila Jiva Goswami himself gives this example. He says nobody knows what Pitta, Kapha, and Vata really is in reality. You cannot really identify this as a substance. Still, experimentally it works. The whole system really works if you apply the science properly. In the same way, spiritual science also, even though it operates with some terms or categories which are not really available directly to our senses, still we can see how it works. So we don't have to believe blindly, but the proper faith, proper reverence should be there. Today, one Maharaj came to me. Ramabhadra Priya knows who he is, and he told me a beautiful story, a really beautiful story. I was enthralled how this Vedic science works. So he said that he was a temple president somewhere in Mumbai, and there were some difficulties with the construction of the temple. And he decided just to check one Nadia astrologer, some Agastya astrologer, just to check. And he was not really sure whether it's true or not, all these strange things. So he came to an astrologer, and the astrologer identified by his thumb, identified his chart, and then he checked. He said, this is the name of your mother, this is the name of your father, this is the time of your birth. He said everything correctly, and then he starts reading what is there in the chart. And the first thing which he said is that he is coming to ask something about the temple, and tell him to go back and to come back only on Rahini Nakshatra, which is Nakshatra of Krishna, after offering lamp to Krishna and begging forgiveness, because he didn't come to know the truth, he came to check you. And therefore don't tell him anything. So he went away with a lot of conviction, offered lamb to Krishna, begged forgiveness, came back and got the reading. So Krishna knows what he's doing. And he knows how to dissipate our doubts. Yes.
Maharaj, I have two questions. These are from your lectures, which you in online, where you mention about Shraddha, that Shraddha means not to have a faith in them, those who have experience. Shraddha means to personally experience the emotions of the bhakti. Then one remains fixed on the path of bhakti level.
Can you repeat again?
Yeah, but like Shraddha means, you explained that time, that just suppose someone has a faith. I have a faith on them, those who have experience of it.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's not the proper Shraddha as compared to the, if personally the individual experiences those emotions of the bhakti, then he will be more fixed up.
Yeah, but initially to get the new experience, you need to have faith. You need to have faith in somebody who is more experienced, and therefore it's proper. First, we see somebody and we see that he has more experience, spiritual experience, and we trust him. And by trusting him, we develop faith and we ask him what to do, and then we start acting, and then we obtain faith. But ultimately, the purpose of this is to get the experience. But initially, when we don't have experience, we have to trust somebody. So therefore, Shraddha is trust. And but it's not blind trust. Trust is never blind. Trust is the emotion which appears within our heart when we are convinced. So Shraddha is developing over a period of time when we see that somebody really has some spiritual experience which I want to have, and therefore we develop trust in him and follow the path which he indicates to us. Next, please give to Champakalata after that.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, you had mentioned that
Champaka, not Lata, Champaka, Mala.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, you had mentioned that getting the mercy for spiritual master is very tricky. One should please the spiritual master and not just keep asking for mercy. Does this imply that mercy will come without us asking for it? Or should one not ask for mercy from the spiritual master and the Vaishnavas?
We all have this experience. If somebody is annoying us by asking us all the time something, we may give him something just to get rid of him, because he's an annoyance. So if his disciple is an annoyance, yeah, Guru can give him something to just to not to disturb his bhajan. But if Guru sees how sincerely somebody is trying to serve him without any desire to get, then he will automatically give. So it depends how intelligent you are. If you are intelligent, you will not ask. And then you will get more.
One small point: if the spiritual master has physically disappeared from here,
It's not a question of physical presence. Spiritual master is still there, is still guiding, and it's actually a question because spiritual master is manifestation of God, and if we if we're really dedicated to spiritual master, then we can see how spiritual master is guiding us even through different people. Like Srila Prabhupada, some conductor in the train told him, why are you distributing these magazines? People will read magazine and then throw them in the garbage. You should read books. And the Prabhupada's reaction was, this is my spiritual master is talking to me. He didn't take it lightly. He didn't take, who you think you are, I'm a pure devotee, No, his reaction was, my spiritual master is talking through this person, because he was so sensitive to feel how this, and therefore he could feel the guidance of God which is coming through his spiritual master, manifested in different ways. Yes.
So, yesterday you explained that Laukika Shraddha is based in some miracles and some superstition. But when I think of Shastriya Shraddha, or when I think of Krishna consciousness, it seems like a lot of our Krishna consciousness is based in miracle. Even the fact that we're all here and we're trying to practice Krishna consciousness is because we felt something. And if we think what is a miracle, it's something that cannot be explained by laws of nature or science. And I find myself, even though I try to understand and I study Shastra, but I'm so dependent on some miracle to feel something, not just understand something with my mind. So is it wrong to kind of, I find myself, I chant and I think, Krishna, if you just give me a moment where I feel something, it will make all of my material desires naturally go away a little bit more and a little bit more. And with these little moments, we can deepen our practice. So is it wrong to think that and pray for that?
There are good miracles and bad miracles. The miracles which you are mentioning is good miracles, no problem. Yeah, we definitely see. This is the difference. Miracles are very important for those people who have Shastriya Shraddha, and miracles are important for those people who have Laukika Shraddha. But the difference between them, any person who pursues spiritual life, who practice some spiritual practice, he hopes for miracles. Definitely. We want to interact with the higher forces. We want to feel the presence of Krishna in our life. The difference is that those who have strong Shastriya Shraddha, they hope for miracles, but they're not dependent on miracles. Whether miracles happen or not, they still practice, and when miracles don't happen, then they practice even harder than when the miracles happen. Because they understand, yes, something is wrong with me. So, and when the miracles comes, they feel it as a sign of love of God. He noticed me. He is not indifferent to me. But for people who don't have strong Shastriya Shraddha, they're very much dependent on miracle. If miracle doesn't happen, then, why should I practice? They're more or less blackmailing God. If you're not showing a miracle, what kind of God you are. So they become completely demotivated. And if miracle doesn't happen, then they kind of concoct miracle. They agitate themselves, and then they imagine some miracle to happen, or whatever it is. So there is a difference. So there's good miracles, no problem.
Hare Krishna. Guru Maharaj.
Yes. Okay.
Please
Okay.
accept my humble obeisance.
Yes.
Guru Maharaj, I had one doubt. Maybe you can clear this. It's about chanting.
I have a lot of doubts about chanting.
to chant with a group of devotees. But something Hari Bhakti Vilas, I have actually read that Sanatana Swami Maharaj said that mantra should not be revealed, and it's mostly it's mansik, and anything else which is archana or preparing garland for the Lord is considered as Kaika Seva, which can be done with a group of devotees. But japa is actually mansik. He also goes to an extent saying that we are not supposed to show reveal our mala and mudra to even a spiritual master.
The name of spiritual
Yeah.
master.
So how do we understand that? Because we are always being told that chant loudly, cry like our kid cries to his mother.
It's there are different instructions for different levels of practitioners. Manasik japa, Srila Rupa Goswami very neutrally explains that there is manasik japa, that there is upamshu, and then there is vachik japa, audible. And Srila Prabhupada, he stressed that in the beginning our chanting should be audible because in the beginning our mind is too loud and we have to loudly say the holy name to kind of overcome the loud voice of our mind. But when the mind becomes a little more quiet, the chanting in the mind is definitely an authorized process. And when we are together with a group of devotees, it helps us externally. See, mantra should not be revealed, but holy name is not mantra. Holy name is the name. We should not pronounce loudly Gayatri mantra. It's not like in a beach in Goa where, Om Bhur Bhuvah Swaha. The mantras are loudly chanted. It's useless. It doesn't. It's not the proper culture. So mantras should not be chanted loudly, but holy name can be chanted loudly and should be chanted loudly. When we chant kirtan, we loudly chant. And when we chant japa, we can also loudly chant, but at one point we don't have to do it loudly. And it very much depends on individual taste. If you feel more immersion into chanting japa when you are alone, then there is no need for you to be with other devotees. But if you feel more enlivened in the presence of other devotees, seeing how they are trying to concentrate and trying to do it properly, then it's very good to chant together with them. And in Vraj, there are many caves, like holes in the earth where great devotees would go to be free from disturbances, like Bhugarbha Goswami. Bhugarbha Goswami, he's called Bhugarbha because he was under the surface of earth. And he was mostly practicing japa underneath the earth because he didn't want to be disturbed. But we are not Bhugarbha Goswamis yet, so we should not imitate. I guess we should finish for now. Oh, okay. I saw the sign of desperation. Okay. 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 Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes.
Maharaj, I had a question about Bhaktimal. So we learned from Bhaktimal about how different bhaktas have achieved the love of God, and most of the kathas focus on nurturing the bhava, in terms of nurturing the bhava. The Lord is bhavagrahi Janardana, so nurturing the bhava. So when we look at kathas of Gora Kumbhar, Tulsidas ji, or Mirabai, or various different charitras that we can see, they're all focused on nurturing the bhava to achieve that prema. Even the gopis of Vrindavan, and so the question I have is, Maharaj, I don't see they have studied shastras as scientifically as we go in detail, but the major focus remains on actually nurturing the bhava. So what should be more important? Is it that japa leads you to bhava?
First of all, these people were very knowledgeable. They studied Shastra. You shouldn't worry about them. They knew Sanskrit, they get the proper education. They did study Shastra. The Shastra was the common foundation for anyone in Vedic culture. Definitely Mirabai was from very cultured tradition. And Tulsidas was also very knowledgeable. We can also, sometimes it's not mentioned in Bhaktamala because the Bhaktamala biographies, biographical sketches are very short. So it's not repeated all the time, but the very fact that Tulsidas wrote such beautiful compositions means that he was very, very knowledgeable. So the knowledge is necessary, but it should not be, of course, it's not the end in itself. Knowledge creates certain foundation upon which we should build by properly practicing. So why do we need knowledge? We need knowledge actually to practice properly. Ultimately, you are right. The emphasis should be not on knowledge itself, but on the proper, intense practice. But the point is that you can only practice intensely without deviations or without distractions in your mind if you're completely convinced inside. So this conviction is there to help you to concentrate on following the practice. So that's how it works. It's not the end in itself, it's just a means to help us to concentrate. And if you can concentrate on practice without knowledge, no problem, good luck. So do it. But in a normal case, we need to be fixed by studying Shastra. Okay, the last one. He was not reinitiated. He got the second initiation, and he got the first initiation from Niranjan Maharaj, and second initiation, and he developed very strong faith in Gaur Govinda Maharaj. And Niranjan Maharaj said to this particular person, you can go to him and get from him, don't consider me. And when Gaur Govinda Maharaj met him, he said, no, Niranjan Maharaj is still your guru, he's your Nama Guru, and I'll give you Diksha. So, and he very strongly insisted that Niranjan Maharaj is still your guru and you should maintain proper disciple relationship with him.
Story which mentioned about Sri Sampradaya.
Oh, Sri Sampradaya, okay.
Is it Shastra say only one Diksha Guru should be one?
Yeah. So this is an anecdote in the sense that it's a rare occasion. It should not be there. And therefore the second guru became very afraid that he committed aparat, and therefore he came and he started begging forgiveness. But the first guru said, no problem, let's pull him out together. So, but it's definitely it's against the etiquette, but some exceptions could be there. Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.